Nice.
Well, I was
How'd
thinking.
you like to be an adult and just get slapped down at the table like that?
Well, I mean, are the ACC and the Big 12 really adults in this conversation?
See, who are you, Sankey Spawn?
No, but I'm just saying, like, they're at the kid table of the college football playoff
Wow.
discussion.
Okay. Well,
They are.
don't say anything if Clemson wins the national title.
I mean, they're not going to. It's fine.
I, I don't know.
You like Clemson a lot more than I do.
It's a good football team.
That's fine. I've been honest about this. They are good. I just don't like Dabo as like personally.
Yeah.
Not that he's bad at his job.
Great. He's great at his job.
They might be very good this year. They might win a national title this year. I will be rooting against them, not just because they're conference rivals with Florida State, but also because I think Dabo is a self-righteous D-bag.
And if they win, they're gonna have a heck of a success story at quarterback.
Yeah, because Klubnik was left for dead.
They stayed with Klubnik.
Yeah, Klubnik was left for dead.
He was the poster child, and then they splashed him in, and he got DJ to leave, and then he didn't have the follow-up season.
Mm-hmm.
He just progressively kept getting better.
He's got a little better.
And now I don't know if you'd call him elite, but you have a very, very, very good OC.
Mm.
And he was a great hire a year ago. I mean, Adam McClintock, those guys were like, "Hey, DB, I'm vibing with you. This is a heck of an upgrade."
Yeah.
And Clemson's gonna be good, man. Like that's a good football team. I would probably put them in they're firmly in my top 3.
Ooh, okay. So Ohio State?
Reluctantly.
Okay.
I wish I knew more at quarterback.
I mean, I think they wish they knew more at quarterback too.
I think they feel good.
Yeah, but they still don't know anything. They haven't seen it. You know what I mean? Like, it's the thing Coach Rule said. It's like, yeah, you can feel great, but until it's out there, you have no idea.
Yeah, what did he say? His wording was incredible. This was on the heels of going with Harburg
over Sims.
Over Sims, when I felt like Sims was I intimated that he was healthy enough to go.
Yeah.
And Coach Rule said, that's the thing about quarterbacks. You just don't know until they're out there. How guys receive them in the huddle, and we're going with Harburg.
Yeah, you just have no idea.
I was like, all right, we're going with H2.
So I guess as good as they feel about saying, I'm sure, like, you don't know until it's out there, right? How many high-end prospects have we seen? I mean, talk about Klubnik. Like, it took him a while to figure it out. And that's not to say that Sayan's going to not be good long-term, but you know what it is this year.
And you know what's funny is the Big 12 and the ACC could have a couple of party crashers. I would be careful.
What do you like? Who do you like in the ACC besides Clemson?
Nobody really.
Okay. Because you're not a Miami guy.
This is supposed to be their year.
If it's not, I don't know when it is, right?
I like Miami as a school,
mm-hmm.
right? I mean, they have 3 or 4 of my favorite 10 running backs.
Yeah.
And they have my favorite player that has never really played for a team I love.
Who's that?
And it's not close. It is not close. Sean Taylor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I knew you were a big Clinton Portis guy.
Yeah. It is not.
Sean Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge. Sean Taylor's he's one of my favorite people in any sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you're not buying. You're not buying. You're not a Cristobal guy though.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. I get that.
And I guess if you're gonna pay the alleged number, whatever was being paid, I don't know if I believe the $4 million for Beckett and the NIL market. I don't like how they build relationships. Like, I know how they've done some of the NIL deals,
mm-hmm.
and it is very throw money at it.
Yeah,
and I can speak to that factually.
Yeah, they just throw money at a situation.
So guys have gotten worse on their watch.
Yeah.
Like good players that they've gotten. I mean, check with the fan base. They'll tell you the same thing.
What is
so
that,
maybe Miami.
What is that team last year without Cam Ward?
In trouble.
Pretty bad, right? I mean, like 500?
And in trouble, right?
Because they danced through raindrops with him.
I mean,
how many?
He saved their proverbial bacon.
Virginia Tech. There was 3 games like in a row. It was like Virginia Tech. I want to say Duke.
So the Virginia Tech game, I remember watching.
Because that's the toe tap in the back. Yeah, that was
a Friday night.
Yeah, that was a toe tap in the back of the end zone.
Yeah, I was.
Like, they should have lost that game.
Mm-hmm.
I think they did lose that game, but they couldn't overturn the call.
Yeah.
right? There was that one. I think it was Duke, and then there was one more, like right in a row, or like 3 and 4
Duke
weeks
likes their quarterback.
with Mensa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that the rest of the roster is good enough.
Wait, is it? Hey, Shane, you know what's coming up is you got to reach out to Phil Still because he'll do the tour. I think that thing drops on the 4th.
Oh, does it? Of June?
Yeah.
Oh, that's about right. It is June every year, isn't it?
I don't know why the 4th sticks out in my brain.
I've been seeing on Twitter he's on the tour, like he's going.
I want to say June 4th. I do. But I don't love anybody in the ACC, but that's part of the reason why I like Clemson. Even though Clemson's schedule it's manageable.
Yeah, I mean, most team schedule in the ACC is going to be manageable.
Keep saying that.
It is like it's not the Big Ten or SEC. Like if Clemson's playing in the Big Ten or the SEC, we probably feel differently about their schedule.
So what's 10 days from now?
10 days from now is
So just an hour ago he said 10 days till magazine goes to press.
let's see, 6th.
Okay. So it's around
So it goes to press the 6th. So it probably won't be out for another week or so after that. Because they got to print it.
Yeah, you got to push back.
Seems early. I think before he was in July.
Stop it.
Well, I'm looking back at the old emails.
Oh.
Maybe it does. Maybe it is July that it actually comes out. I don't know how long it takes at the printer.
I don't
But
usually-
I'll-
I
I'll-
don't peruse
I'll send a filler
the
out.
magazine stands
Mhm.
in grocery stores.
Yeah.
I probably should.
I
Usually because there's somebody or two already over there, and it always looks like a creeper.
what do we got going on here?
Just doesn't. I don't know what a quote unquote regular person looks like. They don't look like regular people.
Checking out the National Enquirer, stuff like that.
I'm like, yeah, I ain't going over there.
So I don't really peruse magazine stands. I just go purposefully one time a year to go get my Phil Steele.
Yeah.
And
I usually get all. There's 3 that I
Yeah,
get.
I
I usually
go-
get them at once.
I get
Athlons.
Athlon, the Big Ten specific one
Yeah.
from Athlon. I get the Phil Steele one. I usually get an NFL one. I think that's it.
I don't get any of the NFLs.
Really.
NFL is pretty easy. The rosters are so small.
Sometimes I just like having it all in one place.
Unless you're a fantasy guy.
Yeah, some of it's fancy, but I like having it all in one place too.
Ouch.
Or it's just like, hey, right in front of me.
Yeah. So I got to get back to Sankey though, because the teams that I think, Clemson will be a player.
Mhm.
I think there's some combination of, a K-State, an Iowa State, a BYU. Like somebody's going to be a fly in the ointment. Arizona State. Like
You like Utah this year?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I like Utah to do Utah things.
But not
it's a
to-
7-8 win team.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Not to be a problem.
the best team in that
You say-
team in that state is BYU.
Did you say Arizona State?
I mean, so I would be careful.
I mean,
and maybe maybe they'll cannibalize each other.
I think the Big 12 is in a better spot to be a problem than the ACC. Personally,
Although the ACC has
the best team,
the best team.
I would agree. I think they have more good teams in the. I think there's more good teams.
I mean, quietly, like if I'm really,
you like
gonna-
SMU's chances again?
I do a little bit, but I don't love them at the quarterback like everybody else does.
Yeah,
It drives me up the wall.
I'm not a huge fan there.
So, but again, a year in the system, and they have a really good coach.
Yeah.
So, I'm not going to count SMU out. I'm not going to count SMU out either. But
I'm not really. I mean, I like Rhett Lashley a lot. I'm not a big Jennings guy.
He's got a lot. So, the next step he's got to take is you have to take the gimmies.
Yeah, I was gonna say he doesn't do enough of the easy stuff consistently.
Got to take the gimmies.
That I don't feel great about it, but I do. Like we said, even though Clemson's the best of these teams, I like my chances with Arizona State, Iowa State, BYU, Kansas State, probably better than I do with just Clemson.
So, was your problem with Sankey that he comes across as
No, here's my problem with Sankey.
the best interest of the sport, but it's really about 2 conferences?
Well, there's a
Because you realize if they come to power,
yeah,
they're definitely at some point they're going to try to
leave everybody else out.
including the Big Ten, and I think, in my opinion,
You think so?
kind of
I don't think they're big enough on their own.
they won't be, but I'm telling you,
They may try.
they'll pee in the sandbox.
Well, I think they're trying to pee in the sandbox right now. Because here's what I think is happening. The way this is, because I don't think he's actually mad. I think he's sort of grandstanding a little bit because this is how I see this playing out. Is behind the scenes, they were talking about.
I hate the automatic qualify. This I'm not going to give you any pushback yet, but you know how I feel about AQs.
Yeah, not a fan.
I haven't liked it from the jump,
So here's what I think
and I'm staunch in that. This was before it was. This is when it was 4.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like, hey man, AQ suck.
Here's what I think he's doing right now, and this is why I'm mad at him. And it's smart for his conference and it's smart for him to do, but it's going to end up in a way that I think is stupid. It's bad for the sport. Is he's positioning this thing like they don't want everything that is already coming with it, right? It was reported like 2 weeks ago before the meeting started that the SEC wanted 16 and they wanted 4 automatic qualifiers. Well, now he's talking about like, well, I don't know about 16, and well, maybe why don't we get 5 automatic qualifiers? And he's starting to push back on the things that he wanted, asking for more, because here's where it's going to land. He's going to concede to the 4 automatic qualifiers and 16 teams in order to not have to go to 9 conference games.
That's
how he's playing this, and it's smart for him to do. I understand that. But he's playing it so that he's going to get the things he wanted in the first place, 16 teams.
So you're cool with them just getting their $8 million per and divvying that up for the teams that get in, at the risk of not being paid by the network for the 9th conference game.
Yeah, that's where
I wonder what that number is, because you're going to leave it on the table if you don't go to 9.
Yeah, because right now I looked at the numbers. They don't have. The fiscal numbers I saw were for 23-24, not for 24-25. So this was before the Big Ten expansion. And the last numbers I had, actually, the Big Ten was a little ahead of the SEC.
The
money
$75 million?
Because, yeah.
Or it was 60. So this past one was like in the low 60s.
Yeah.
Next year,
you're
talking mid-70s.
Because the new deal hadn't kicked in last year. But so I was looking at because I was looking at tax filing. So it was the year before. And it was like 880 for the Big Ten. It was 808 for the SEC. So
like a kick drum?
Yep, like 808s and heartbreaks, like Kanye. It's your guy.
Not my guy. Not my guy.
But so the Big Ten's actually ahead. So they're giving up $70 million or whatever that is, $72 million for that. I mean, that's basically comes down to the ninth conference game. So what he's basically betting on is, hey, I'm going to get my 4 AQs. Because they're still eligible for, at that point, they're still eligible for the at-large spots, aren't they?
Yeah.
So he's going to bet that, hey, based on having 8 conference games, I can get a 5th team in more often than not, and that'll make up the money. And he might not be wrong.
I don't listen. At first blush, I don't see it, but anything is definitely doable. 5 seems like a lot.
Yeah.
5 seems like a lot.
But if you're sitting here and you go, okay, I've got 4 Big Ten teams automatically in. I've got 4 SEC teams automatically in. And if we get to this point where we already tend to dismiss, I mean, you're going to have one non-power conference qualifier. You're not getting more than one. You're going to have 3 teams. One of them's probably Notre Dame on the way their trajectory is going right now. More years than not, it's probably going to be Notre Dame. And then you got 2 spots. I don't think they're going to get, because the ACC and Big 12 are both in line to get 2. So you sit here and you go, okay, are either is the 3rd place team in the Big 12, the 3rd place team in the or the ACC better than the 5th place team in the SEC or the 5th place team in the Big 10? And the committee, because of what those conferences are, I don't think they're gonna buy that very often. So he's like, hey, I got a 50-50 shot on any given year, and if I continue to propagate this SEC Ponzi scheme nonsense, I like my chances to get my 15 minutes.
I think so. I think the SEC has to be careful because everybody's top 4 quarterbacks in the conference.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, my supposition is you got to be really good at the quarterback spot to give yourself a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the top 4 quarterbacks in the SEC.
Okay.
Agree or disagree, in whatever order you like them.
Okay.
Sellers, Lagway, Nussmeier, Manning.
I think some people would probably throw Mateer in there.
Okay. Throw Mateer in there.
I'd probably throw Mateer in the over Lagway at this point, just on track record.
Okay.
But some combination of that.
Let's say that's a combination of the 5.
Yeah. Which
one of those guys are you like, oh, yeah, like it's
over the moon about?
That's national title worthy.
So
that's why I think you have to be careful.
Yeah. I mean, Nussmeier is probably the closest just because I know the most.
Well, I would probably say,
but I'm not enamored.
And they had a good portal year, but it's LSU.
Yeah.
And for whatever the reason, even though you got a 2-time coach of the year, it hasn't clicked.
Mm-hmm. The fit's been awkward with Brian Kelly. Like
I mean,
it's
he
been
can
uncomfortable.
clearly coach.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a good spot for him.
So it's like, okay.
So you don't love the LSU thing. I think Nussmeier is the quarterback we know the most about. I don't know if that's the team I consider the best national championship contender.
Manning may have the best cast.
Yeah, Texas is definitely the best situation of those quarterbacks.
But still unproven. We went through his snaps.
Yeah, we have no
a couple
idea.
weeks ago.
We have no idea. He's thrown 100 passes in his career.
So we're banking on the fact that those guys are going to maximize, and it's not.
You don't
listen,
know.
I don't want to make it seem like it's a crapshoot, but
well, you really don't know.
I mean, Lagway, Sellers, Mateer, Manning, and Nussmeier.
I mean, you named 4 guys I don't particularly love, or 3 guys I don't particularly.
3, I know you don't.
3 guys I don't particularly love. 1 that's a total unknown, but I'm higher on than you in Manning, and then Nussmeier.
I'm not down on him. I'm just saying.
You're not taking it for granted.
No.
And then Nussmeier, who I think is good, but I'm not blown away by. Right?
Yeah.
And then, okay, so you want to do the same exercise in the Big Ten?
Yeah, because 2 of the guys you're going to put at the top, I think you like a lot.
Well, I mean, I like Dylan.
That's
You're not even putting him in there? Okay.
I mean, I can't.
Okay.
I was
just asking.
The 2 you have to start with are
Aller.
the batteries. You got to go with the AA batteries.
Yeah.
Altmaier, and Aller.
100%.
You have to start there.
Very high on both of them. I'll take Aller over Nussmeier. Yeah? Fair or no?
Fair.
I think it's
fair.
Yeah, I think I take Aller over Nussmeier. And I'll take Altmaier over.
Who just did a top 10?
Mateer?
Listen, I think Klatt just did a top 10
in the Big Ten.
Yeah. No. Top
Overall,
quarterbacks
in the country.
He did.
Okay.
I knew I saw this because Cedric Gold tweeted this out because this was in the Austin American Statesman, and it was Steve Holly that did it for the College Sports Wire. So Klatt's top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Ready?
Yeah.
Carson Beck.
Nationwide.
Yep. Okay. Nationwide. Carson Beck.
And we did this last year.
Okay, listen though. My point is not in the conference. He's not in either one of the 2 conferences we're talking about. So Beck at 10.
Okay.
Luke Altmaier at 9. Surprised he's getting.
I'm surprised he's getting that much love, but I don't think it's inappropriate.
But I can dig it.
Yeah, I don't think it's inappropriate.
Sellers at 8. Lagway at 7.
We're doing a lot with those 2 guys.
Hey, listen.
We're doing a lot with those 2 guys.
Let me just get.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh.
We're just doing a lot with those 2 guys.
Nussmeier at 6.
Okay.
Aller at 5.
Okay.
Levitt at 4.
Okay, people like Levitt a lot.
Mateer at 3.
That's bonkers.
Arch Manning at 2.
We don't even know if.
And of course, Cade Klubnik at 1. It's fine.
We're doing a lot with those SEC guys. We're doing a lot.
All right, let's go.
Like if the SEC, listen. If the SEC is that much better than everybody else, we just think Mateer's not going to have a problem adjusting. We just think it's going to be cool. Like everybody tells me, right? Everybody,
we're probably only there. I'm sure other people have done it, but I mean locally, like we've gotten inside his games and been opponent specific.
Yeah.
He has not
tears up bad opponents.
He has not been good against good teams.
And you know what people tell me is that there's no easy weeks in the SEC. So where are his numbers going to come from? He was playing at Washington, like he was tearing up like UC Davis and Cal Poly last year.
By the way, Cal Poly could be
a little thorn in the side in baseball regionals, a little bit.
And they're in Eugene too, aren't they? Yeah, I think Cal Poly's in Eugene.
So yeah.
But anyway,
I'm just
random.
I'm just sitting here and I go, okay, we've got
what was so upset. I was just trying to tell you.
No,
about
I know
Sankey making the point for 5 teams, but you're banking on quarterbacks and 3. There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns. You're talking about.
I think 5 is a wild assumption.
I know, but I also think the SEC is wildly arrogant, and I think they believe that.
Okay.
They believe their own hype. They have to.
You do need a couple of other good teams, though. Like, you need Miami to be good. You need K-State, Iowa State, Arizona State.
Arch Manning's thrown 95 passes
No, I know. Listen,
in
I
his
said it
career.
last week. Look at his rushes. What's he got? 20?
He's got 28
Yeah.
rushing attempts.
Yeah, believe me,
He's played like 130 snaps.
I've looked at this.
That's barely 2 games worth of snaps.
And Sellers has a very, very, very dangerous playing style.
Yes.
Now, he is a monster physically.
He is. He is.
But that style does not lend itself to longevity
Also,
in this gauntlet of a conference.
let's not pretend.
Although I do like South Carolina's talent.
I'm
not putting them in the playoffs.
Well, no, I know, but like, where do you like them in reference to the rest of the SEC?
Middle of the pack.
So that's kind of my point, right?
Yeah.
Like, unless like to play that style safely, and by safely I mean just like navigating the whole season, like you probably need to be a little better than middle of the pack to protect that guy and to make sure, because that's the other thing is I don't know how, like, he's gonna have phenomenal games, right? He's gonna have highlights and he's gonna do things that you're like, holy crap.
So is the part that's pissing you off is they get credit for reaching their ceiling, but assuming they reach their ceiling, but Dylan doesn't?
Yeah, Lagway's,
I get it. That's
Lagway's
fair.
the one that pisses me off the most because at least Sellers was a little more productive last year. Not a lot, but a little
Just
more
dynamic with his legs.
Yeah, more dynamic with his legs. The passing really is not that different than Dylan,
Mhm.
but a little more dynamic with his legs. And so he gets the benefit of the doubt. Lagway gets the benefit of the doubt when the numbers are almost identical, except for I think Dylan's passing numbers are a little bit better. And so we're just assuming.
Certainly his accuracy is.
Yeah, for better than both of them. But so we're just assuming that Lagway is going to reach his ceiling, and Sellers is going to reach his ceiling, and Archie Manning is going to reach his ceiling, and that John Mateer going from Washington State playing a bunch of bums last year and tearing it up against a bunch of bums last year is going to reach his ceiling in what's supposed to be the hardest conference in the world. I can't turn a corner without people telling me about SEC defensive lines, right?
And Nussmeier, you have a fair amount of sample size, and I still don't think you love him.
No, he's pretty good, but I don't think, like, they're talking about him as a potential number 1 overall pick next year, and I don't think he's that. Yeah. You know, I look at him and I go, hey, that's a good college quarterback. He probably gets drafted, probably goes in the first round, but I'm not betting my franchise on that guy. And I also don't trust Brian Kelly's fit at LSU, even though I know he's a really good coach. It's been awkward down there, and I can't really put my finger on why the whole time, right? So I'm sitting here and I go, okay, the one guy that I know is good is Nussmeier, and he's the one whose coaching situation I trust the least. And then I go, maybe not the least, but I have real questions. Not the least, but I have real questions about the fit and how that works. Because
and Kelly is notoriously hard on his quarterbacks.
And they probably should have been better than they have been his entire time down there.
Correct.
Right? So I don't really know.
That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't really know.
That's where I would land.
I don't know what they've underachieved under Brian Kelly, right? So I don't know what to do with it. And then I go, okay, so I'm supposed to sit here and I know Drew Aller's good. I know he's good. I know Altmaier's great in his system. And I'm sitting here, I go, okay, so I go Aller, Altmaier, 1-2, no question. Feel great there. Already.
Because of proven production.
Yeah, because of track record. They've actually done it.
Mm-hmm.
The only guy that's actually done it.
Aller's stats are scary.
Really good.
Without us being able to name one legit outside the numbers wide receiver.
Their receivers have been terrible.
I mean, it was Warren.
Yeah, that was it. And they had to force feed him. Like, his numbers have been really, really good for a team that doesn't really
takes care of the football.
It's a little Andrew Lucky, if I'm being honest. The way that he did it at Stanford without any weapons that you were crazy about.
Yeah.
Like, you go, oh, hey, he's got really good numbers for a guy that I don't think any of these guys are going to the NFL.
I may have to get over some of my Andrew Luck murk.
You don't like him?
I don't love him.
Okay.
And I never have.
In the NFL, I think he was.
I never have.
He was underwhelming compared to what he was supposed to be. But in college, he was really, really good, and he put up very similar numbers to Drew Aller in, I think, a similar situation in terms of talent around him. But I'm sitting here, I go, okay, I've got all these guys that have zero proven track record. And then I've got 2 guys that I know for sure in this conference have been productive and really, really good. Have been productive and have won.
Mm-hmm.
Where I don't have any of that with anyone outside of Nussmeier in the SEC. No one. Not Manning, not Mateer, not Lagway, not Sellers. I don't have any of those guys that have won and produced in the conference that they're in. Doesn't that matter at some point? If we're making lists and assumptions and things like that, like, shouldn't you go by the data you have available? Because we don't get down to guys until like Mendoza that we're making assumptions about the way we are with Mateer, where we should be having to make assumptions with Mateer, or a Dante Moore, where we go, hey, yeah, he was like.
Isn't Mendoza a better fit at Indiana than Mateer at Oklahoma? Or am I misreading that?
I mean, maybe they're making the assumption because the OC came with him, or he came with the OC. I don't know which is which.
I don't know, man. I'll ride with Signetti.
Yeah, that's fine. And I've made arguments to why I don't think it's quite as good of a fit as Rourke was.
That's interesting. I have to get back into like the deeper dive on why Mateer over
Mendoza.
Well,
and like, okay,
because I get the Sellers and Lagway thing.
Why Dante Moore, or why Lagway over Dante Moore? When Dante Moore started as a true freshman, he had almost identical numbers to DJ Lagway. Almost identical. Now, he took the year to sit and learn behind Dylan Gabriel. Is that it? That's the only reason that we're given the assumption?
Okay, so let me
to Lagway over Dante Moore?
So what's the difference between, for you, assuming that Dylan will improve, but other teams won't with similar quarterbacks? Or you think you're arguing that it seems like the perception is we already think those teams are going to improve?
Yeah, we assume they are going to improve.
Because of the prowess of how people feel about them nationally, not necessarily you specifically.
Yeah, correct.
Because I don't want to hear two things.
No,
right? I don't want to hear Nebraska get the benefit. I don't want to make it seem like
you don't want it to go the other way, right? You don't want.
I don't want to hear you be saying, well, Nebraska gets to get the benefit of the doubt. We'll get best case scenario.
Nobody else does.
But nobody else does.
Yeah, I'm not saying these guys won't be good. My confusion is, why do they get an assumption that Nebraska doesn't?
Gotcha.
Right? DJ Lagway, I assume he's going to get better. I do. I don't think he's going to be the best quarterback in the country. I don't know if he's going to be a top 10 quarterback in the country. That's where I'm kind of getting a little dicey on. But he gets this assumption that he will be a top, 8? Mm-hmm. He's going to be a top 8 quarterback in the country.
Lagway was, he was.
There's 7, or Sellers was 8.
Sellers was
somewhere in that neighborhood.
They were back to back.
That these guys
8-7. And this is class.
Yeah.
I mean, he watches enough football.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
Sellers 8, Lagway 7.
So you tell me this guy's going to be a top 7 quarterback in the country. That's the assumption we're making about Lagway nationally. The Royal we making about
Florida was much better last year than anyone thought. I mean, we were on Napier Firewatch,
especially down the stretch.
Yeah.
But if you look at their season, not an unsimilar season to Nebraska in terms of how they finished.
You know, for the rushing prowess of Sellers, and I get it for the dumb reason you have to count
a lot.
Sacks.
Lagway's the same way.
He was still only 4-1 a tote.
I think Lagway's like 4-3. I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure Lagway's like 4-3.
That's like Tebow career rushing numbers.
Yeah, which I know you're a huge fan of.
Dude, I think he's a career 4-5 guy.
I believe you're right. Lagway was at 4-1 last year.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Or no, not Lagway. Sellers was at 4-1 last year. I'm looking up Lagway now. But that's my issue is we assume DJ Lagway is going to turn into best case scenario, top 7 quarterback in the country. And I think Dylan is 7th in the conference in the rankings that I'm looking at. Oh, God, I gave Lagway way too much credit.
12-9 touchdowns, interceptions?
No, I meant on rushing yards. Yards per attempt? What do you think Lagway was at?
You got to count sacks?
Everything.
He's in the 3s.
2-0. Flat. He had 100 total rushing yards last year, out including sacks, but 101 rushing yards last year. This is the guy that we think is so much more dynamic with his feet. And listen, I get that athletically he's got a different skill set than Dylan. But that's what we're basing it on?
So going through all of this,
we're basing it on 12-9, sub 60% completion percentage, and 2 yards per carry. That's what we're basing this on. That's the top 7 quarterback in the country. We can make that leap. We can make that assumption.
The more I process through this, and I didn't know we were going here this morning.
I didn't either.
But I like Manning's situation the best.
For sure. Talent-wise and coach-wise.
And I don't even know if he's as talented and I use that term loosely,
Mhm.
from an upside standpoint, as whatever they feel about Sellers or Lagway I,
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he's in the best situation. Now, my second best situation may surprise you.
He did have twice the rushing yards per attempt that Lagway did.
Who, Manning?
Manning was at
He's
4.3.
a good athlete.
He is a really good athlete.
He's a good athlete.
I don't think we give him enough credit for having the athletic upside that some of
But
these
do you
guys
know
do.
who I think's too?
Who?
Because I like their wideouts.
Situationally
Yeah.
in the SEC?
Yep.
Who?
Nussmeier.
Yeah.
Because he at least plays. I don't think he's got elite arm talent.
No.
I don't, but
he knows what he's doing, though.
Ball's coming out on
Yeah.
time.
He knows what he's doing.
He's
good. He's a good quarterback.
But I do think we got to turn the corner in terms of crunch time play.
But I don't.
His crunch time play.
Yes, and I don't trust that situation with Brian
I think he's
Kelly
probably
currently.
second.
Oh, I think
And
so.
I don't love him.
I don't either. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about two guys that we don't know about Arch, and B, we're not enamored with Nussmeier. And then we've got a bunch of dudes that we're making huge assumptions about. Like, I don't think people appreciate how large of an assumption we're making on Mateer.
That's the one that pissed you off.
Yes. Because if the SEC is what everybody tells me it is, this dude has never played in that conference. He played like half of an FCS schedule last year.
I know.
And you're telling me an Oklahoma team that has already struggled with the transition to the SEC is just going to it's all going to be great? Like, maybe it will, but I'm supposed to believe there's no learning curve. There's no bumps in the road there. We are making huge assumptions about Mateer. I can at least sort of get it with Lagway and Sellers. Sellers especially, right? He's seen the conference. He started a whole year. Like, that guy, like, the numbers were still pretty good. Like, that guy, I sort of understand why we're making the assumption there. I think we might be over-assuming a little, but I kind of get it. Even Lagway, to a certain extent, at least he played in this conference last year. If the SEC is what everybody wants me to believe it is, then Mateer should struggle this year.
So Oklahoma's got Illinois State and Michigan at home. Then they go to Temple. They get Auburn at home.
Okay.
They get Kent State at home. I mean, they could easily be.
The schedule is not daunting on the front end.
They could be 5-0 before you blink.
I don't know what the back end is.
They get Texas,
Neutral site, right?
neutral site.
Yeah.
Then they go to Columbia. They get Ole Miss in Norman. You go to Knoxville, to Tuscaloosa, Missouri at home, LSU at home. It's not like, damn.
I mean, the back half's pretty rough.
But at least you get them at the house.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in Knoxville and in Alabama in consecutive games, but not consecutive weeks. So you're at Knoxville on the 1st.
And then you got the 15th.
Then you're off.
Yeah.
And then you go to Tuscaloosa on the 15th.
You're still probably catching L's at both of those.
It ain't. But then you come back with Mizzou and LSU at the house.
I mean, if Nussmeier is who he's supposed to be.
I mean, would you be shocked if they were 5-0 going into Texas?
Give me the first 5 again.
Illinois State.
Okay.
Michigan. At Temple. Auburn at home. Kent State. Now, I will say this, and I'm not saying it's a win because it is in Norman. Auburn is my sleeper team in the SEC.
Yeah, I think Auburn's going to be tricky. I also think, I mean, it wouldn't shock me if they're 5-0, but I gave that Oklahoma game to Michigan.
Oh, I know.
So, like, it wouldn't shock me if they lose that one, obviously. But they could. It's at home. They could easily win that.
It's not daunting.
It's not the front half. I think the back half's pretty rough.
I mean, but it's the SEC. You ain't getting gimmies.
I know, but that's my.
I mean, Vandy's they're all.
That's my point about Mateer, though. There's no gimmies on that schedule. Like, you're gonna throw Michigan at him, his second game in big boy football. Okay, good luck. Like, there's no Cal Polys on that schedule, bud. I mean, Illinois State, whatever. But that's like, I don't understand why we're just assuming Mateer is a guy. I don't know why we're just assuming. Like, they couldn't figure it out with Anthony Richardson down in Florida. Why are they going to figure it out with DJ Lagway?
I know.
They
did play better down the stretch.
They did, but his numbers are still what they are.
I know.
Like, he led them to more wins, and that's great. But he still performed how he performed, right? He still doesn't complete he's not accurate enough. He doesn't complete the ball at a high enough percentage. He's not nearly as dynamic as his legs as we make him out to be, or at least he wasn't last year, right? Like, I get that it can look a certain way, but the results are what they are. And the results with Lagway last year were not incredible. They were fine. And we're now assuming that he's the 7th best quarterback in the country. And by the same token, we are assuming, let me bring up the list here because I've got it in front of me. By the same token, now these are different people making the rankings. I understand this. But 24/7 has Dylan Raiola as the 6th best quarterback in the Big Ten. And you've got DJ Lagway as the 7th best quarterback in the country. Like, that's where I'm having a problem. We're making assumptions about these guys that we have no more information on than we do on Dylan.
Okay, so ahead of Dylan, I'm just doing this.
Yeah, just guess. Yeah, you haven't looked at this.
Aller.
Yes.
Altmaier.
Yep.
Mendoza.
Yep.
Whomever's taking snaps at Ohio State.
Yep. They've got Sayin.
Is that 4?
Yep.
And he's 6th?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the California kids. No? Oh, Dante Moore.
It is Dante Moore. Which, again, making some assumptions about. He's 4th. They've got Dante Moore 4th.
4, 6, 8, 12.
You know what's funny?
They've got Sayin.
Let me ask you something.
Go ahead.
So the top 5 in the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like the top 5 in the Big Ten better?
That wouldn't be my top 5.
No. Like, let's say let's
flip whoever I want.
Yeah, move Dylan in or somebody out. You like the top 5 in the Big Ten better? You may not love the upside as much because the one upside guy is Dylan. I think you know who Altmaier is, and I think you know who Aller is. So your top 2, you kind of know what you're getting, but no more than Nussmeier.
No. And I think you've got to.
You do know what you're getting with Nussmeier.
And there's not a second Nussmeier in.
No, everybody else
SEC.
is kind of a leap of faith.
Everybody else is a leap of faith. So I'll take Aller and Altmaier. And then Sayin's got upside. Raiola's got upside. Dante Moore has upside. Nico has upside. Mendoza has upside. Like, Mendoza's a 6'5", 230-pound. Like, that's a prototype guy.
And he can move a little bit.
He can move. Yeah, he actually moves really well. And especially for that big of a guy. And he can throw it. He's got a lot of arm talent. So you got upside. That's 5 guys whose upside I like there. 3 of which were 5 stars, by the way. Or 4 of which. Right? Because Sayin is 5-star. Dylan, Moore, and Nico, all 5 stars, right? So it's not like it's a pedigree thing. What are we doing? Like, all 4, like, we know, and Underwood, I haven't brought up Underwood yet, 5-star. Like, we're not doing, like, we saw more from Nico last year than we did from Lagway or Manning, right? Like, and he did it in the SEC, so I like his chances to translate to the Big Ten, even though I think there might be a cultural thing, which we disagree on, and that's fine. But, I mean, we do, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We just disagree on how that might play out.
That just didn't land. You're like, sticks in your craw.
Yeah. I don't like the way that happened, and I think there's people in that locker room that might not like the way it happened either, but maybe Deshaun Foster is better at navigating that than I'm giving him credit for. Like, that's entirely possible. But if in terms of just physical upside, you're telling me that you're Bryce Underwood, 5-star. Nico, 5-star. Dylan, 5-star. Sayin, 5-star. Dante Moore, 5-star. And I'm missing one. I forgot one of the other 5 stars. Like, your pedigree, we're talking about the exact same level of guy. We know more about Nico than we do about Arch, about Lagway, and I would argue about Mateer, based on conference toughness and the schedule he faced. We know the same amount about Dylan that we know more about than we do about Arch, and the same amount that we do about Lagway. We've seen Dante Moore have a full season in a power conference already.
Although 2 years ago seems like a long time.
It feels like forever ago. But he was with a not very good UCLA team and put up almost the exact same numbers that DJ Lagway put up. And I'm supposed to just assume that DJ Lagway's better? Why? Like, no one's been able to tell me why. Why am I supposed to assume that Lagway, Sellers, Manning, and Mateer are better than those guys I just named?
You know what's funny and why I ask about the top 5 in the Big Ten versus the SEC is because of the 5th spot that you were talking about Sankey navigating in his head.
Mhm.
To compensate for not taking the 9th conference game and the money from the network.
Yeah.
Whomever you think is the 5th best quarterback in either of those conferences, are they good enough to get their said team into the playoffs? That's really
That's
the
the question.
conversation. That's really the conversation.
Would you be shocked if Damon Williams is the 5th best quarterback in the Big Ten?
shocked?
Yeah. I'd be shocked if Washington made the
No.
playoff.
No, I
But
would not. I would not be shocked if he was the 5th best quarterback.
But you'd be shocked if Washington made the playoff, but not if he
Yes.
was the 5th best quarterback.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah.
And he is 10th on this list. 10th. So you go 10 deep on quarterbacks, you can feel pretty good about.
It's a good conference.
It's a really good conference. I mean, I have no idea what Jaden Maeva is. Full year on. I'm not a huge fan, but it wouldn't shock me if he's good under a Lincoln Riley system where he actually has a full offseason to figure out what he's doing.
Kind of tried to retool that offensive line, and they got to replace.
I liked him.
They got to replace a boatload of skill.
I liked him at UNLV.
I mean, you drop Deuce, no pun intended.
Yeah,
he's out. You lost Branch. You got some work to do with Marks. You lost your second best running back. But the cupboard is they reloaded. It's just
all new guys.
Yeah.
100%. They like the talent's there. I just don't know how it's going to work. Like that's sort of always the thing with the last. I'm not always, but last few Lincoln Riley teams. It's like, yeah, he's got guys in there.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to look like.
I'll be curious. I'm going to go through this in my head and see if I can. I want to compare the 5. I'm going to take the 5 best quarterbacks in the ACC and the 5 best quarterbacks in the Big 12 because I think
it's probably closer
on,
than.
Yep, that's what I think.
See,
not a lot of difference between Avery Johnson, how we talk about some of these other guys.
I don't think that I'm sleeping on the quarterbacks. I don't know that the rest of the rosters are as good.
That's fair, but I'm going to get into it.
That's fine. We can get into that tomorrow. I'll do a little homework on Big 12 and ACC quarterbacks.